Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sarah Martin with the Contoured Chemist. So today's video is going to be a little bit more advanced version of contouring. So if you've already got the hack down, you know how to contour. This is kind of a way to step it up a notch for you specifically and your face shape. So if you want to learn kind of maybe some tweaks you could make to make your contouring even better and give you even more the look that you want, keep watching and check out this video. Be sure to like and subscribe so you see when my next video drops, and thank you for being here. Hi friends. Okay, let's go ahead and get right into it. I probably have put off this video forever, even though it's been requested, because I don't want anyone to think that their face shape is wrong or not beautiful, because they're all beautiful. I'm a big believer that there's not one perfect right or wrong way to contour across the board for everybody though, because I usually give a general rule of thumb when it comes to placement of contour, but that is not maybe ideal for every single person, because some people might have long faces like I do or rounder faces. You can get more benefit from knowing more about your face and how you can maybe tweak your contour placement a little bit to give you a better effect. All we're doing is playing with light and dark. We are bringing out your bone structure. Why not to do it in the best possible way? So that being said, let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna pull my hair back so you can see my full face, and let's talk a little bit about contour. So I am feeling very flat right now. I have my highlight on. I don't have my accent brightener, but I have no contour. So I naturally have a little bit of shadow like right here, but for the most part, I am free of contour. Let's talk about contour colors a little bit. I'm not gonna touch on it as much in this video, but this is a more detailed how to contour video, a little bit more advanced from the beginner hacker, okay? So, starting off, if you have issues with your contour in the least, say you are contouring with the 30-second hack brush or even the Buffy brush, I know those are highly recommended by a lot of artists, and I do recommend them as well for some people. But for the most part, I recommend the detail hack for contour. For me, this brush completely changed the game. It makes contouring so much easier. And obviously it can kind of depend on the shape of your face as well. I find if you have a much longer face, meaning you have a lot of space right here, that the 30-second hack brush can work really well. So if you compare the sizes of these brushes, the actual width of the brush, this brush can work well if you have a lot of area right there. For me, I don't, okay? This is as wide as from my cheekbone to my jaw, and when I place this here, I cut off half of that area. So when I do use this brush, I use it at an angle and I only apply the contour color to the side of the brush in a very small area, so that way when I apply it, I'm not getting too large of a stripe, okay? So the purpose of contouring on the cheek area is to lift, okay? We wanna get it right underneath that cheekbone, but we don't want it so wide that it's gonna actually diminish this space right here and make your face look shorter. It's gonna drag it down if it's too low on the cheek, okay? So this brush I definitely recommend if you have a very long face, okay? That will help you with application there. The Buffy brush, I find a lot of artists really love this for contouring. I don't find it the easiest brush to use, in my opinion. and not so much color placement. It's not hard to kind of press it up and feel under that cheekbone for placement. I just don't find it blends as easily. And if you've ever seen my videos, I like to apply and blend really quickly all at the same time. So the Detail Hack is my go-to. This brush I feel like is really easy to kind of push up under that cheekbone. And to be real, I started contouring with this small end. So I really did not have the hang of exactly where to place it. So I love this brush because when you put it to your face, because it is so small right there, you can feel it. You can feel your cheekbone. So you can actually feel and draw that line. It's nice and thin, so it's not gonna be too wide. And you can feel exactly where to draw your stripe, and then you can flip it around and blend from there. So all that to say, Detail Hack all the way for contour. To me, I never, ever contour without using this brush. I just don't. So if you are completely new to contouring and a brush even intimidates you, maybe you're not used to applying your makeup with a brush, you can even use your fingers to place that color, and then you can pick up the brush just to blend it out. I have a lot of people that like to do that as well. And I have some people that like to contour first and then apply highlight. It's all personal preference. You do you. Okay, so it's a little bit about tools, and I want to go a little bit about colors before we start talking face shapes. So these are all of the contours that we currently have, going from lightest to darkest. I just want to point out that shadow is kind of in a category all by its own. And it was meant for only nose contouring, okay? The nose is the one place that really can pull red more than any other place on the face. A lot of people have darker noses, they have red noses. If you're finding that your contour shade is pulling red, this shadow contour was specifically made. It is very gray, and I don't recommend it on the face, okay? It can easily make you look kind of dead because it's too gray. So nose contour only. So we pretty much have like 3 different categories of different contour shades that would be warm, neutral, or cool. So your artist can help determine what you need to start with first, but for the most part, I find that our contours are rather universal depending on how dark your skin tone is. There's certain ones that you would have to stick to because otherwise the lighter ones would not show up. But for the most part, we've got 2 warm shades, Walnut and Stone. Then we have, for neutral shades, we've got Aspen. Let's see if I can see here. Olive is this one. And Indigo. Okay, and then cool tone is Ash. I am like, oh, Ash, Henna, Astoria. Okay, coal is kind of in a category by itself. It's only for the darkest skin tones. You can use it as eyeliner as well. So that's pretty much the categories. My main recommendation for contours, if you try one and it is pulling you too warm, like pulling red, orange when you blend it out, go to a cooler contour. If you're using a cool contour and you're having trouble with it looking dirty or not blending easily, you need a warmer contour, so try a neutral contour. Otherwise, try different shades, and you might be like me and you might like some in one area and then you like using a different one on the other, or you like to layer more than one shade to get more definition. It's just all about playing with it. Okay, so I'm gonna show you how I contour my face on half of it for a just everyday. This is how I recommend the basics of contouring for everyone to start. So then you can start with that general diagram and you can tweak it depending on your face, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna use a a dark enough one that you'll be able to see it. So I'm gonna use Indigo. Indigo is neutral, but it pulls warm on a lot of people, and you'll see it on my forehead. It pulls warm there. So, okay, a little bit about getting your color on the brush. Since this is a more in-depth contour video, I want to address this because I get a question all the time about, oh, the contour's not showing up on me. And I can wear almost every shade we make, and I wear one of our darkest highlights. So it will show up. It's all about getting enough color on your brush, okay? So you'll see in my videos, I'm always pouncing. And when I pounce into my contours, because these contours are dry, they are not as creamy as the highlights. And if you just tap in, you get nothing, okay? So I tap into my highlights, but I don't tap into my contours because you barely get anything when you tap. Same goes with swiping, okay? So I like to hold my brush at an angle because I like to apply only to half my brush in order to really control the amount I get on my cheek area. So let's do the cheeks first. It's the hardest. So I'm going to pounce in with some force, and enough force that I can clearly see the color on my brush. Okay. Let's start with the cheekbone, okay? And I'm gonna pick up a brush so that you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So, general rule of thumb, cheek area. Take a pencil or something and roll it along your face underneath your cheekbone, okay? So when you're looking at that, you're gonna see it's, can you see my full ear? It is about to mid to the top of my ear, all the way to the corner of my mouth. Okay, for the most part, that is a general rule of the contour line you want to, that's your imaginary line per se, okay? Now, the angle of this, okay, is going to determine the look you're gonna get from your contour. This is where we can either make your face appear thinner, okay, or wider, depending on how we angle that line. But for the most part, if you shoot for the corner of your mouth, start there and see what you like, and then we can tweak it from there. Okay, so I'm gonna act like that is my imaginary line, and then I'm gonna act like there's an imaginary line going from the corner of my eye down. Okay, so look at yourself straight in the mirror. Okay, corner of the eye. That is naturally where your cheekbone stops, okay? It's going to blend in slightly, but if you are applying your contour all the way down to the side of your mouth, you're gonna be able to see your contour right here, and that doesn't look natural. When you're looking straight forward, you shouldn't see your contour. Very little, if at all, okay? We'll get into cheeks here in a minute, but for the most part, if you stop around the corner of your eye, it's gonna slightly blend in as it kind of fades, but you don't wanna go farther than there, or you're gonna get into the smile line, the marionette line area, and that's when it can look completely off, give you a mustache, all those things, okay? So when I'm applying my contour, I always start at the top of my ear because that's where the most color is gonna be deposited, okay? You look at yourself, you're naturally gonna have more of a shadow here, and it's gonna gradually fade as we get closer to the center of your face, okay? We want the center of your face light, and we want those darker shadows to recede, because the shadows we're adding to our face, we want to carve out our bone structure, okay? We want to actually make them appear like they're receding. So dark recedes, light brings forward, okay? This will be forward, that will go back. That's what gives the illusion of a lift to our cheekbones, which is ultimately what we want. We want to look like we've got fabulous high cheekbones, okay? Okay, so I'm gonna start up at my ear right here, and I'm going to just start pressing, small pressing motions, to deposit that color, and I'm gonna stop right at that imaginary line. I really wish and I'm slightly going too far sideways. Do you see that? So I'm just gonna kind of correct that and go a little bit farther down towards that corner of my mouth. Okay, so once you have the color more or less placed, I kind of sometimes like to just buff slightly, okay, just to kind of make sure I don't have more product in any area than others, okay? Because we don't want it kind of sticking to some places and not being fully dispersed, if that's a good way of saying it. Okay, and then is when I start blending with my brush. When I blend, I simply pick up where I just applied, I move it slightly upwards, and I start pulling the very top of that line upwards, okay? Key is never blend down. You're always blending up. I swear my hair is always in the way. And we're just gonna kind of pull. Feather-like strokes, real gentle here. We're not using a whole lot of pressure. I love this brush. This brush is amazing at blending. The 30-second hack is too. Now, Indigo is one of the hardest contours to blend out for some reason on most people. So if you are having issues with that one, maybe try Astoria and see if that is better for you. Another issue is if you're having trouble with blending your contour, really make sure you have fully exfoliated skin. Even shaving your face makes the biggest difference from that product blending out. Okay, so it looks great and blended in the camera. In the mirror though, it looks a little patchy to me. And I think that's because I need to exfoliate. So the way I correct that is I'm gonna take a tiny bit of Astoria and I'm gonna add it and blend, and it corrected it. So don't be afraid to mix contours as well. I do it all the time. Okay, I just wanted to make sure you guys would be able to see if it's dark enough on camera. So this is definitely a defined contour. I like my contour defined. I like this bottom line sharp. If you don't, here is the chance to blend. So you can take any brush. Sometimes I just grab the brush I applied my highlight, and by pressing over that bottom line, that's what's gonna blur that edge. So I usually don't press along the bottom because I want that defined, but right in here, I really want to blur that line. I don't want it to just stop. I want it to be, oh my gosh, I swear my hair is just trying to drive me crazy today. Okay, and then as long as this is blurred out and it is fading as we go down, we're golden. Okay, so that is cheek placement. We're gonna go back in with Indigo and we're gonna do forehead. Okay, and I'm gonna try to show you only half my forehead so I can kind of show you the difference on the other side. So with forehead, and if you're just, let's say I'm a plain oval. So I'm pretty oval-like. My face is a little bit long, and I do have some angles here. Let's be real. I'm one of those people that I've never really been able to say my face shape is clearly this. I've done the mirror trick. If you guys don't know, look at your face in the mirror, take like a Expo marker, a dry erase marker, and trace the outline of your face in the mirror, and then step back and see which shape it resembles the most. When I do that, it looks like an oval. So I've always just kind of been like, I guess I'm just an oval. So for an oval or any just general forehead, again, foreheads, jawlines are optional. But if you want to shorten or narrow your forehead, it's simple to do. Just think that the dark is going to recede and make anything look shorter or smaller. Okay, so when I apply, I go along the hairline, okay? Some people with very short foreheads, like if you have a very short forehead like this, you want to use very little or it's going to make you look like you have no forehead. So I have a very tall forehead, okay? So I can go a lot farther down on my forehead than people with no forehead, because the dark is going to cause that to recede. It's going to frame my face more, and it's going to give me the illusion of a shorter forehead. Okay, I also have a very wide, like this area right here is wide. Okay, it's almost square up here. So this area is wide. In order to shorten this area, I can go down farther. So I normally go right about there. I don't go quite all the way to my temples, but I go about right there, okay? And then I'm always pulling into the hairline, pushing up, so I don't have any white space there. And then I'm pulling down onto my highlight to blend, okay? Key is with foreheads, you don't want to see a distinct contour line. That does not look good. Okay, then we're gonna go into jawline. Again, the darkest part of the jawline is gonna be back here by the ear. Okay, so I start the color there, and then I'm pulling down along the jaw, under my jaw. Okay, and this is the general rule, and then you just pull down the neck so you don't have any kind of line. And that's gonna define your jaw, okay? And now we can get into more complicated. Actually, yeah, let's do the other side, and then we'll go back to nose contouring. I feel like that could be in a video all on its own, but let's go ahead and just stick with face shapes right now. Okay, so the first thing you gotta do is kind of gauge based on your contour and how it looks, how your face is looking. So either take a photo, look in the mirror, really study your face shape and think, okay, where's the widest points of my face? So for me, I feel like I'm wide right here, but I'm technically slightly wider here at my midpoint of my face. And then I'm long because I've got a long chin, okay? So technically, I mean, I don't even know what shape that would be. If you're like me and you don't feel like you have a specific face shape, we're gonna use oval as like kind of the control, okay? That is our guideline, that's where we're gonna start. And then you can kind of just use some of these guidelines from the other face shapes to kind of determine like, okay, yeah, I see where maybe I'm wider through here, so I can use this trick to shorten that area, okay? So the first one I'm gonna go over is a diamond, okay? So think of a diamond shape, okay? That means their forehead is tallest in the middle, okay? And then they kind of go down here and they're wide through the middle, and then they've got a long chin. So I feel like I'm partially there. I'm just not super tall right here. Okay, with a diamond, think of the tallest points as where you're going to add the contour. Okay, so here you're tall, so you're really gonna contour, concentrating the contour right there at the highest point of the face, okay? Just think highest point of the face. So right at the top of your forehead, okay? And then you're really long here on the chin, so you can contour the end of your chin to create that shadow. I should probably be doing this on a daily basis, but I don't. So the key when you're contouring not directly under the jaw is to really make sure you're blending, okay? Utilize that perfector to make sure you don't have any harsh lines, and it's just the most subtle shadow, okay? Now, when it comes to the cheekbones for a diamond, you want it steeper, okay? So we were talking earlier about this line and how it can change, okay? If you are wide through here, just think, if you make it steeper, it's gonna narrow, okay? That is what's going to bring it in. So instead of going towards the side, towards the corner of the mouth, you wanna steepen that line and make it more dramatically here. And that is going to bring that area in, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, the next one is a heart. Okay, so I'm kind of heart-like too. Is it weird that I find my face shape in every single one of these? Anyway, because I have that chin and this is like perfect if you have a widow's peak, okay? And you have that area right here. Okay, so the key with a heart-shaped face is that since this area right here is normally wider, you really want to concentrate that color on your forehead right here in the I'm trying to make a heart shape, guys. Right here in this area that is the widest, okay? Think widest, think of it right there. You're not super wide here. You're narrowing down as you go so you can keep that contour in line with the corner of your mouth. There, you're golden. And then again, you've got a chin like me, a little bit on the chin, and that's heart. Simple, right? Okay, so next is oblong. I find this one hard to describe. Think of like upside down pear, right? So you're gonna be wider here, but then you're gonna be narrow and longer in the rest of your face. Your face through here is long, this is wider, okay? So when it comes to your forehead is wide. You can really go all the way from temple to temple, like I do, and contour that area, okay? And then again, you have a long face here, including your chin, so you can include that on your chin. Now, since you are more narrow through here, we're gonna go the opposite. So, what's the opposite of steeper? That is more horizontal, okay? So I call it more like side to side by side, side by side, side to side. This is what's going to create the appearance that your face is wider, okay? So this is perfect for those people with really narrow faces, okay? You don't have to go as steep down to your corner of your mouth. You wanna go more up this way. This is also those people that really like to curve their contour. So I'm gonna show you what that looks like. This is something I don't normally do because again, I'm kind of wider through here and I also have a lot of volume in my cheeks. This is a great technique if you don't have a lot of volume here, but you wanna give it the appearance that you've got those apple cheeks. Okay, so I'm gonna do the same kind of thing. I did not get enough on my brush. Okay, so this is gonna be hard for me because I'm not used to it. Apply more side to side, okay? And then when you get here, you curve it slightly. Okay, now this is tricky because I feel like it's very easily, which is another reason why I don't do it. I have smile lines there. I have to worry about creasing, but you simply hook the end of your contour, okay? So it's gonna give you more of that apple cheeks. And in this technique, you see it on this side. So you really have to be careful when it comes to blending to make sure you are blending enough that this is fading enough that you can't see it dramatically, okay? Again, stay out of your smile lines. It's kind of your guideline there. And then kind of just kind of cup that cheek right there. Okay, and you can already tell it kind of will give the appearance. I'm not super good at this method, I'll be real, because I don't do it. But you get the general idea. It's hard for me not also to, I feel like I feel like I didn't even do it flat enough. You could go flatter than that. That was the general line I was attempting to go along. Okay, so that is an oblong face, okay? So that will kind of cut that area and make that appear wider, okay? Because when I think of going side to side, you are almost cutting that area in half. You're not lengthening your face. You are making this area appear shorter. Okay, hopefully this is all making sense. Okay, so the next is rectangle. So this is where you are widest here and here. which I feel like I am too. And again, you're just looking at where you're whitest and you're adding more contour there. So you really concentrate the color on those two areas where you're whitest at your top of your temples. And here's where we can get into more side jaw contouring. Okay, so I do have a pretty strong jaw right here. I wouldn't say it's so strong that I need to contour it to make it fade or anything like that, but I could. So this strong line right here is where you can add your contour to make that fade. Okay, so you got to be careful with this method because it's going to shorten this distance, okay? It's going to take away some of that light right there. Now, if you're wanting to shorten that, and rectangles normally are longer as well, so they can afford to lose a little bit of space right there to kind of contour along that jaw line. So just think harsh corners is where you want to add the contour. Okay, last but not least, and I feel like this is the maybe most beneficial one, is round faces, okay? So if you're more round than oval, then you have a wider area through here, okay? You're just as wide as you are tall. You don't have a long face. So you need to thin your face. You want it longer. So what do? We go steeper than to the corner. Okay, so by doing that steeper line, that's going to narrow the face there. And since you're also wide here, this is the one face shape I would say you can connect from your forehead, go all the way down your temples to connect with your cheek contour, okay? Because this area is all just as wide and we want to create that narrow effect. So just like how I apply it here to narrow my forehead, you apply it all the way through here to narrow your full face. That's it when it comes to contouring for your face shape. So really it is all about a simple tweak, where you're placing your color on your forehead, where kind of the angle, it's all about the angle, baby. The angle of that cheek contour can make the biggest difference. You're still kind of following those general rules. You still want it up and under your cheekbone to blend up, stay out of smile lines, blend, blend, blend pretty much. All of these really don't affect your nose at all, but let's go over a quick nose contour because I'm always asked about noses, and let's just put it in here real quick. So I'm gonna show you guys shadow since this baby is made for noses, and my favorite nose contouring brush, which is the Blend and Tap, which is an eyeshadow brush, but so good for noses. Okay, so I'm gonna use shadow, and you'll notice this contour is creamier, so application is even easier as well. So I'm gonna use the kind of more flat side to draw my lines. Now, if you're brand new to nose contouring, one of the easiest ways is to kind of tap in with your finger, rub them together, okay? Feel for where your nose starts going downward, okay? You can almost touch your fingers, okay, slightly, and then pull all the way down to the tip and go all the way up to your brows. Okay, so I'm gonna do the same thing with this brush to make the color a little bit darker so you can see it. But you're pretty much following the bridge of your nose where it starts curving downward. You're going all the way up, gosh, this is dark, all the way up to your brow, and then you're connecting them at the tip in a triangle. Okay, so again, just like with faces, if you want your nose to appear shorter, we're gonna apply that color at the tip of your nose and make it kind of go up farther here. Now, you can also make your nose appear shorter by just kind of blending right up to here and not going all the way up to your brows. Going all the way up to your brows is going to give the illusion of a longer nose, okay? So the main purpose of nose contouring though is to actually slim your nose. It can't, there's some different techniques you can do, but it can't really remove bumps or change the shape of your nose, anything like that. But it can slim the nose dramatically because we're just applying that darkness there. And then the magic happens when you apply the highlight. So no matter your face shape, you highlight your accent brightener, same location, no matter what. And this is what's really going to bring attention to your face. And this is huge on kind of finishing off the look and changing the way your face looks. Contour can do amazing things, but again, contour recedes, the dark recedes, the highlight, the light goes forward. So this is what makes huge difference. If you don't have an accent brightener, I highly recommend trying one. So I'm gonna pick up my Buffy small end, and I'm just gonna tap once into my brightener, and I'm gonna apply that all the way down the side of my nose, and I'm just pressing all the way over under the eye and kind of filling in that gap. Okay, one more tap so you guys can see how bright that gets. This is Aura. Okay, so can you tell a huge difference? Okay, now this is also a great place that if you have, say, a lighter neck, you can, or if you want to define out your contour even more, use this brush, sweep some lighter highlight under your jawline or press on that lighter color, and it's really going to bring in those lighter tones as well. So I'm gonna do the same thing over here. Again, I'm going all the way up to that contour stripe, okay? The key is keeping the sides of your nose light and bright. Otherwise, it's gonna make your nose appear wider, which is not why we just spent all that time nose contouring. Okay, and I always kind of clean up my shadow while I'm doing it. Now I'm going to press a little bit, just one dot, center of the forehead, chin, Cupid's bow. Okay, and I'm gonna press that in an upside down triangle right in the center of my forehead. Okay, think of your accent brightener as a triangle. Even if you don't have a triangle face shape, okay, we're gonna go from center of the forehead, and then we're gonna brighten under the eyes all the way down to the chin. Okay, center is light and bright. And then I'm gonna pick up the blend and tap, and I'm gonna use the other end. It's a slightly more pointed, more rounded. And I'm gonna pick up a little bit of my accent brightener, and I'm gonna attempt to go as straight as possible in between those two stripes, and then blend up between my brows. Okay, and if I want the end of my nose darker, remember, don't go too far, or shorter, don't go too far down with that brightener. Okay, so now it's time to blend. There's a bunch of different ways to blend nose contours. For the most part, I sometimes just use my fingers and I start blending there. And I kind of press it in with the warmth of my fingers. And sometimes that's enough. So key is look sideways. Do you see a stripe? If so, blend more. If not, you're golden. Or just take your perfector, and I usually gently do this or it will take it all off, okay? And then I go under my eyes and I perfect it all out. All that brightener. If you don't perfect after you layer shades, you're not getting the full flawless finish you can. Okay, and I run this all over, or I don't run it, I pounce it all over. And there you go. Now I'm contoured. And now, let's see, can you tell the difference? This one's more cupped, and this one, I stayed farther out. So in my opinion, this will lift the cheek more so. When you stop here, it gives ultimate lift. And then this one you can see from the front, and it cuts. Can you tell how much higher this side looks? And this side looks lower because we're taking away some of that area, but it has shortened this area of my face. Can you guys see that? Hopefully you can see. I hope that all made sense of kind of some options for tweaking your contour placement and playing with contour. Once you've mastered contouring, then you can think of all these things and think, how can I improve upon it? And then you'll be golden. So I hope that helped, and holler at me with any and all questions down below if you need it, and thanks for watching. Love you guys. Bye.